And right on schedule. Look at that. What's up, YouTube? It's Logan, the guy who can't stop making list videos. And I'm coming at you live on Thursday night, kind of impromptu a little bit. I had the idea like fucking day ago. Am I coming in? Everything sounds fine. Like I'm listening to some death metal in the background. I want it to feel or sound spotty with the death metal. It kind of does. I got my headphones on just so I can hear. But how's everyone doing? What's up, everybody? We got a couple people. Dave, what's going on? Tyler, Devin. That ain't too bad. I am pleasantly surprised. I think I sound okay, good enough for the Metal and Beer Snob channel. My standards are a bit lower. I like to keep things a bit more reasonable and tipsy. So, on that note, cheers, gentlemen. First, how about a beer? Louisiana brew, cane break, along with a cat, of course. But yeah, what's going on, guys? Nice to see y'all. As you can tell, I'm doing one more video about 2025. It was a good enough year that I can't stop talking about it. So it's an issue. I promise this will be the last time. I won't mention it after tonight's long stream. It won't be that long, I hope. But no, I've this will be my third video doing a list for some kind regarding 2025 albums, and this is for a couple reasons. First off, it's just for my own OCD sanity and interest, just because I like making lists. I like preserving like something for me to reference in the future where it's all in one spot. I can see exactly what I thought of everything without going from the list I did over here on Metallurgy, the list I did over there on gas masks, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I overdid it in 2024. I'm almost there here, Devin, but this will be it, I promise. The other reason for 2025 specifically, I had a shit ton of albums, more so than probably any other year since like my college days. I built up a list throughout the year of 60 albums. Typically, I'll have like 30, if that, like previous years, but I hit 60 this year. I think working with Metallurgy, doing the album club and reviews helped, but then also just being a part of all kinds of different streams and, YouTube videos and the Discord and stuff. There were so many releases that I couldn't help but have my list get bigger and bigger, basically. It was pretty unwieldy, and with that, I was not able to buy most of it. In fact, I only bought 30 out of those 60 albums, or not even 30. I'm still waiting on some. So I have like 27 now. And on all my previous lists, if I didn't own it, it didn't appear. So a lot of great albums that I wanted to talk about, I didn't get the chance to because I didn't have a physical copy, and I didn't feel right, showing off my phone or just talking about it with air quotes and stuff. So, but on my channel, it's my rules. I make it up as I go. So I'm fine talking about a bunch of albums I don't own yet. Plus, I'm trying out a new feature. Look at this, a slideshow. Oh my god. StreamYard has slideshow options. So I quickly compiled everything together in one brief 51 slide presentation for your viewers, for the viewers' pleasure. And you know, Tyler, I didn't want to tell you, but you might be. I'm sorry. You and Peter and I think a couple other dudes in the Discord server easily surpassed the 50 physical media per year mark, which is impressive. But no, um, thank you all for popping in, whoever has, and yeah, I'm gonna kind of dive right into it. My goal with this stream is not to be that long-winded. It is a school night after all, so I'm here just for a a beer and a quick stream. So I want to have this done hour and a half, 2 hours. Who am I kidding? But especially since I'm going to 50 albums. So that's right. I from 60, I had to narrow it down to 50. So there's 10 that did not make the cut. And yeah. What's up, Nate? Cheers. Yeah. Peter probably already has 10 new albums from 2026 in his possession, which is impressive. And that's another reason I want to get this video out because I can focus on 2026 albums. The year is already coming out pretty strong. That Fuath album, Fuath, is pretty good. And dude, Ruins of Beverast is coming tomorrow, I believe. So, oh man, no spreadsheet tonight, just the slideshow. So we'll make do with just a simple slideshow. But yeah, and I've got a couple qualifiers for how I'm presenting each album. So, of course, here is number 50, getting right into it with Aham Kara, The Horror of the Lost. So, atmospheric black metal released on Bindrood Recordings back in April. And as you can tell, I got my ratings right here, that rating is supposed to be a little bit lower than that, but that's just me being OCD now, thinking of seeing that. But a strong early contender for atmospheric black metal from Bindrune that definitely hits hard when those emotionally stirring melodies pop up. This is one of the ones that I do own. Oh, I'm getting used to the StreamYard slideshow. One of the ones I do own. Happy to pick this up and support Bindrune. The Horror of the Lost. Awesome album overall. Not too many of these 4 tracks really stood out to me individually. It all kind of works as one piece. That's kind of why I decided to stick it on as number 50, kind of round out the list. Guess what? Oh, killer Purple Merge. Watch out. Uh, Marty always does a great job with these pressings, and I'm happy to have this. This is, of course, a UK project, and we got Austin Lunn on drums. And I do love Austin's drum performance on here. It is no different. He does a great job just writing very energetic and live-oriented sounding drums. Like the fills are always top notch. So cheers to Ahamkara and to Bindrune, starting off the list with number 50. And then number 49. What we got going on in the background, this is Corpus Offal. Of course, I don't need to show the CD. There's the picture with their self-titled debut from earlier in the year. As you can see, this is dirty, rotting, stinking death metal, released on March 21st. I definitely really like this one, but I had some issues with it. Like the runtime is like 50 minutes. Some of these songs are over 10 minutes long. And to me, it doesn't necessarily do anything that really blows me away. Like there's some killer riffs on here, but it's not worth making it into a 10-minute long song or even like a 7-minute long song. I think it just suffers from bloat, which I mean, the album looks like fatty tissue, so I guess it makes sense, but it limited how much I returned to this album and kind of justified my like 7.6 overall score where I will listen to it and we'll put it on in the background, but I will not be seeking it out as much as other albums in this list. But yeah, Devin already hinted members of Cerebral Rot and actually the drummer of Bellwitch are featured on this project, and I'm with Devin here. Cerebral Rot did it a little bit better, especially on their last album, Excretions of Mortality. I thought that was the better of the 2, and I was really excited to see where they would go from there, and it's weird that they ended up here, I guess. Still cool. I saw these guys live back in May, and in the live setting, they absolutely crushed it. I would highly recommend seeing these guys live. They were super tight, super aggressive, and the riff play seems a lot more interesting live too. Like, it's a lot more tremolo picked and very engaging to watch. While on, record, it just sometimes some of it can blend together easier than I think it should. So, yeah. Number 49, Corpus Opal. Moving right along. Dirt Mother, number 48. Yes, I have to include some sludge on here. Released back in March. You can tell a lot of the earlier albums are featured earlier on in my list. I actually mentioned this in one of my heavy metallurgy reviews, so I'm also always happy to talk about this band from Arkansas. Dude, I achieved lisgasm as soon as I hit play on this thing. I'm having a great time right now. And look, I got the spreadsheet out. I'm almost at Allen levels. I just need the I just need the spreadsheet. I got my PowerPoint going right now. But yeah, nasty, filthy Arkansas backwoods sludge. A bit more straightforward than their contemporaries in Wake and Pallbearer and even Deadbird, but honestly, Dirt Mother are better for it. It's to the throat, aggressive, pissed off, a little drunken. I can enjoy that. Still, it kind of came off as one note, which is why it's at the back of the list. Still had to buy it, support the band, as I said, from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Interesting story. This is their one and only album after they've been active for 20 years, and it took about 20 years to release their first full length. So here's hoping it's a bit quicker for the sophomore effort guys. But yeah, coming in at number 48, Dirt Mother. But no, we got 10 people. I'm kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting 4, let alone 10. So cheers to you all. As I said, I'm trying to be quick, but I do want to pour myself a beer instead of drinking it out of the can. Look at this beer glass. But how's everyone doing on the Thursday night? Are you guys done with 2025? Are you fully in on 2026 albums? You heard anything from this year? Is already tickling your fancy? All right, but I'm still 2025. Number 47, and this is surprisingly low, and I'm kind of bummed it's this low. Ancient Death, Ego, Disillusion. This is one where maybe the hype deterred me from listening to it as much, or I don't know what it is, but I just the songs didn't unfold to me like they did to other people. Like, I never fully clicked with songs individually. The sound overall was really cool. I love the clean singing from, the female member of the band, and it's the overall mixture of Florida and, like, Swedish metal. Awesome. But as I said, the song didn't really do much for me. Like, I can't remember a single song off the top of my head on this one. So, yeah, I know, Marty, you, Alan, a bunch of people were impressed with this, and as as I continue to see people roll out, like, their top 20s, for a lot of people, it made it in there, so I'm kinda bummed that it's only at 47, but I am still looking forward to whatever this band does next, so check it out, Devin. I could see you liking it, you know? But as I said, for me, it didn't end up being, like, a must listen to from this year. There were other death metal albums that really scratched that itch, a bit more gorier, death metal, so, yeah. Number 47, I rated it 7.8 out of Now here is some unique death doom from, I believe these guys are on Transcending Obscurity? Let me check and make sure. But we got, Dwelling Below with their sophomore album, Wearisome Guardians. Worrisome Guardians. How's that for an album title? Worrisome Guardians. Watch out, that they look pretty worrisome to me, yeah. Not that intimidating, guys. Um, yeah, Transcending Obscurity Records came out aptly on, October 31st. Perfect Halloween album. This is just a long, really drawn tries to be atmospheric, to the 10th degree kinda death doom. Like, it's very, cavernous and, like, swirling atmosphere. Almost makes me think of some Finnish bands and Finnish, like, doom metal back. So, I was a huge fan of this, and I really wanted to like this one a little bit more, but a lot of the tracks really blended together, and ended up not doing much for me individually. Overall, the sound is solid, but they need to just sprinkle in a little bit more extra spice in their, Death Doom cocktail for me to, like, really click with it. I will say the last track on here, track 6, Sacraments, it has some just very gripping and, beautiful melodies that kinda come in the second half of this 10-minute long track, so I wouldn't recommend this to the faint of heart, and especially if you're not into Death Doom in the first place, but if you are, this 51-minute long album could be good for you, so this is another reason I didn't own this because, yeah, Transcending Obscurity was tough to get. In fact, I didn't actually pick up a single Transcending Obscurity album this year. There are a couple more featured on this list, so I'm bummed by that. Yeah, I copped out rounding to the 10th decimal place. My bad. I'll do better next year. We'll go to the 1,000th at least. All right, number 45. We're back with some stoner, some of my bread and butter. Self-described battle doom from the United Kingdom, Conan, with their new album Violence Dimension. I believe this is their, I want to say, 6th album. I should know that off the top of my head. Yes, 6th album. And this one wasn't necessarily a letdown, but it didn't quite accomplish what I was hoping it would. Um, I was a huge fan of their previous album, came out in 2022, Evidence of Immortality. I thought it had their best riffs, their best written songs, and it had a killer closing track, Grief Sequence, which is like a atmospheric post-metal, you know, drony building track. It's fully instrumental. Kinda blew me away off the album. And this one, it's just long. It's too long. It's an hour long. It's got multiple 10-minute long tracks, and it kinda wears on you a little bit. And then you get to the final track, which is just 10 minutes of static, basically. Like, they're going more in the drone, and it, it got old a little bit, so I definitely thought they coulda trimmed some of the fat on here and had a better album. I will say there is a track on here called Total Bicep, which is totally fucking awesome, and, there's definitely some other songs on here that are ideal top tier Conan. So if you are a Conan fan, you will enjoy Violence Dimension. You just might not like it as much as their other material, but I gave this a 7.9235. Yeah, Devin, I don't know, as I said, that's my favorite Conan, so I don't know if I'd recommend other ones if you thought it was, good but not great or amazing. Um, Maybe try the one before, Existential Void Guardian, if you're gonna venture into other Conan territory. Alright, moving along. Number 44, Arab Altor. Oh, man, this is a Swedish band, and, here's my go. Helsingborker. Nailed it. This was an early album that came out in 2025, February 7th. So I've actually had this one for a bit. In fact, this was the first one that I picked up in 2025. My first album, I was like, you know what? I'll buy that. And I will say it was one of those things where when I heard it, I thought it was going to be a lot better than it ended up being. I, for example, thought it would be like in the top half of any list I would make, and here we are. Goes to show sometimes you gotta wait a little bit before you make the purchase. Still a great album and one, that I enjoy multiple songs off of, which is good, of course. My first, foray into Arab Altor, and I'm definitely gonna be continuing the journey. Devin, I know you like this band. Give me a recommendation if you got one. I have to check out, their debut, by Honor. That's one that Kellen always recommends, so that's on my list, but this one is cool, but it's got some, lull in the middle of the album, like, it opens strong with Valkyrian Fate and hooks me, and then the next 3 tracks don't really do much for me, and then finally we get to track 5, Trolldom, and I'm back, like, the riff that opens up that track, it's just a barn burner, and it's a good balance between them being doom metal and that black metal intensity, all about that, and the album continues to close and end strong with, The Last Step, so definitely worth, owning for me, just 'cause I don't have too many albums like this, and worth mentioning tonight. But this is actually my favorite piece of artwork on this album, like, how creepy is that, man? Imagine walking through the woods in Sweden, and you just come across probably not just the head, I'm sure there's more here, but, yeah. Cool packaging. This is a Hammerheart, album, so and you can tell. Um, yeah. This is now the start of, my 8 out of 10 albums, so cheers, Rick. I do my best, man. Uh, so for those to kind of explain my rating system a little bit, I'm going by, 10th place, and for me, that ideal range where I'm starting to, like, really be interested in an album that I kinda wanna pick it up and own it and definitely have it featured on a list is starting at that 8.0. As soon as we hit 8, I'm like, "Oh, man," you know, "I could see this in my collection. I could see myself reaching for this album at least, once a year, once every other year," and I'm more interested in buying it, so if it's below an 8, like in the 7s, that's when, I kinda have to stumble into purchasing it or really wanna support the band to pick it up, so, let's see. Number 44, come on, we gotta move things along, people, let's see. Grindcore. Fuck yeah, come on. Some, adrenaline to, your evening. Deterioration, prepare for the worst. Yes, you're on this channel, so cheers. This is actually my first album with this Minneapolis band. They one reason is they release too many fucking albums. It's impossible to keep up with Deterioration. They have released 2 things in 2025. They released another full length back in 2024. Who knows what else is coming out in 2026. Be able to hop on the bandwagon for one of their albums, and, this immediately impressed me. It's 20 minutes. You can't go wrong with that. 20 minutes, I think 19 songs? Let me see. Yeah, I'm on Metal Archives, and I have to scroll all the way down to get to this one, and they only started in, like, 2023, so they are prolific. 12 songs, 20 minutes. So, one thing that's cool about this album is that each track opens with a soundbite. I do enjoy some sound bites, especially in my grindcore. Like, it's gotta be the right genre for a soundbite, and intense, ignorant, like smooth brain grindcore, sign me up. And it's I don't know what movie they're all from because they all seem to be following a certain plot from an '80s action flick, but it sounds badass. People are dying, explosions are going off. There's one dude who's just killing everybody with machine guns and grenades and stuff. The sound bites sound fun. So if anyone knows what movie they're referencing on Prepare for the Worst, I would love to know. But yeah, one of the few grindcore albums I have on this list, and I'm just happy to include it. Once again, we're right at that 8 for a score. 42, and back to some self-praise or, like, self-promotion, I guess. Burial Gift, MMXXV, atmospheric black metal out of New Orleans, Louisiana, released over the summer, but re-released on December 1st via Iowa's Recordings. And, for those who don't know, and who haven't heard me talk about it, like, 12 times, Jim at Iowa's is a member of, the Heavy Metallurgy Album Club and was nice enough to let me partner up with finding and, helping to release his next album. So I was able to track down Burial Gift just from the local scene and reach out and see if they were up for us putting out their, debut EP, and fuck yeah, man, it all worked out beautifully, like, it was super cool to be a part of it. I mean, all the credit goes to Jim, he actually basically did everything, put up the money and the knowledge and the know-how. I just, like, contacted the band and helped with some of the PR and stuff like that, but only good reviews for, this Burial Gift, guys, so check it out if you want some, like, atmospheric black metal that has top-notch guitar wizardry, like, there's a little heavy metal, there's a little, like, shoegazy stuff, there's just some very bluesy guitar riffs and, melodies in the guitar soloing, so definitely check this out. I'm expecting big things from this band, so keep an eye out for Burial Gift out of New Orleans. Number 42, so we're still in that 8 score. And, 41, Goya, In the Dawn of November. I kinda coined a new subgenre for this one. Depressive, suicidal stoner doom. So, I say that because this album is very blunt in its subject matter. It does not wanna be here, it does not wanna be alive, and it probably doesn't think you should either. So, eh, just end it, I guess. Don't, actually, I'm sorry. That was Goya talking. But they have such blunt tracks like, Cemetery Blues, Sick of Your Shit, I Wanna Be Dead. They're not hiding anything from the listener, and, I kinda like it for it. I mean, it's a unique spin on what you would get from a stoner doom album, and the bluntness of it is sometimes a little cheesy, but I think it works just because of the style. Like, we're not expecting that much out of stoner doom sometimes, so it's always cool when they surprise us a little bit with a unique take on, this somewhat straightforward and simplistic style of music. Devin, that's a good one. I that could be either that or their mom kicked them out of their basement, you know? That's tough shit right there. But the artwork is super cool. Love the back of it. I, always thought the dude stuck in ice over here looks like Odorous Urungus kinda trying to, you know, get out of hibernation. So that's where he's been, I guess. But, yeah, this was, a good album that really clicked with me over October and, like, kind of the colder months. I listened to this when, it came out in June, and that was definitely not the vibe, so would recommend checking this out on a colder, darker night and, like, in the middle of a summer day, but yeah, Devin, I agree. I think that's thrown a lot of people off, except the band name, Goya, I mean, that's gotta be something stoner. I think I overdid it with 50 albums. I'm tired after talking about 10. Hmm. Keeping it moving though. Guts. Nightmare Fuel. One that came out very early on in the year, back in January, and it actually did stick with me, believe it or not. I wasn't sure if it was gonna hold, you know, be able to run the race, but, Nightmare Fuel did. Just Finnish death metal, but very much paying tribute to all things Florida more so than Finland, like, it's somewhat melodious, swampy, the bass tone is absolutely killer, and there's, like, some really well executed songs on here. They've got a thing for, insects and vermin, though. We got a track called "Devoured by Insects," "Ravenous Leech," "Viper," "Vessel for Parasites." Man, good songwriting choices, guys. But no, I think the lead guitar work and the bass work is enough to check this out. I mean, it's not gonna blow you away, but, um spoiler alert, it is a worthy album, though. Uh, yeah, Guts of Nightmare Fuel came out on, Vargeist Records? I think I got this one from Brian Arkham, actually. Cheers to Mr. Arkham, and he probably picked it up from, uh, Caligari. I know Caligari has this album for cheap, like 4 bucks maybe. So if anyone wants to check out Guts, go to Caligari Records and pick this one of their debut up. Both are good. Alright, and then I jumped ahead, let's see. Yep, number 39, Heteropsy. This is actually another one that came out on Caligari on October 31st. Has anyone, heard of this one? 'Cause this one kinda went under the radar. I heard people talk about it right when it came out, but then no one else really mentioned it. Um, for me, this ended up being a very unique sounding album. I thought it of course is death doom, straight up, but the lead work is exceptional, and it's very heavy metal oriented in the lead work. Like, the opening song is phenomenal, and really, that opening track blows me away every time. The dawning into Pandemonium Altar is a great one-two punch to kick off this album, and from there, it gets a little more samey as we get to the middle point of the album, but then towards the end, we get to, track 7, Methadone, and track 8, Old Friends. Um, and that's when this album really impresses me and made me want to include it and want, to potentially buy this. I have not picked this one up yet, but at some point I shall. As I said, it's cheap on Caligari, it might be 8 bucks there for a new CD. I mean, come on. These days, that's a steal. But Methadone and Old Friends, the final 2 tracks, really space things out a bit and get a bit more gothy and cool, but then at the same time, it never loses that death metal, like, sneer and, gory feel, and, I salute Heteropsy for that. By the way, these guys are from Tokyo, Japan, which might explain where they get some of their weirdness from, because this is definitely a weird album, and just the influences that all come together to form this are kinda unique, It makes me think of, Intestine Balls and went a bit more doom. So, there we go. Number 13, Heteropsy. And, my music just stopped, so give me a second while I change that up. I would not say they're like Coffins entirely, definitely a little bit, but I think Coffins has a kind of a hardcore punk slant sometimes, They have, like, the faster deep beat sections. This one, they feel a bit more heavy metal leaning at times, like, the guitar writing and melody work is impressive, but real quick, what we were playing and what I putting away, Corpus Offal. So that was a my 49th 50. Uh, I'm gonna go and put in my next pick. So after the Heteropsy, this is the next album, Innumerable Forms, Pain Effulgence. So and there's a new word for you, effulgence. I looked it up, but then I forgot what it means, so but anyone a fan of this album right here? For me, I've always liked oh my god, my CD player's killing me. I've always liked Innumerable Forms, but they were always missing something on their previous 2 efforts. Like, this one, it has that missing ingredient that I was looking for, and I think it's more of just a unique sound that influences their songwriting, and I, kinda really immediately clicked with this album and thought it was special. Just the overall package of, the sound of the vocals, the sound of the guitar, the heaviness of the guitar, but then also the melodies that are incorporated. It's just top-notch stuff. I think this guy it's a mainly a one-man project. I think the dude's name is Justin, I always forget. Um, yes, Justin. Looks like he's recruited a couple other members for this album, though, so maybe that's why it's, a bit I don't know, it just sounds a bit more well-rounded and like it travels and goes somewhere, like, I feel like I go on a journey listening to this album, so, yeah, we're, I'm a big fan of this one, it felt like they finally made it. I'm giving this one, like, an 8.2 out of 10, so we're moving ever so slowly up that 8 point scale. Um, yes. I really like the first Dream Unending. I haven't really clicked with the second one at all, but that first one is really good. What, the Tide Turns Eternal or something? But this is probably my favorite thing Justin's released since that Dream Unending, and I am, 100% on board with the direction that they're heading in. Like, it feels like the American Death Doom sound, but with just a little bit of, the Paradise Lost and the Peaceville 3 kind of sound creeping in with just the melodies and the guitar lines that he's choosing. Uh, Plotted Inside is an absolute phenomenal track that kicks your teeth in with an opening guitar riff, and then the final 2 songs, the title track, Pain Effulgence, and Austerity and Attrition are slower, more melodic dirges that really get the job done. So, number 38, Innumerable Forms. Yeah, so did you end up liking the Decrepacy more, Rick? I ended up not necessarily clicking with that one for whatever reason. Like, I dug it initially, but funny enough, this Innumerable Forms knocked it off, knocked it off of potentially being on my list, and this Heteropsy album did the same. So, yeah, it was a tough competition this year. That's all I'm saying. So there we go, 38 Innumerable Forms. Moving on, Druk, Shadowplay. This one really impressed me. I have not been paying attention to any of the newer Druk albums, and maybe I'm doing myself a disservice. Uh, this one was like immediately different and like haunting. It's very repetitious, very kind of just mood music. Like you can't listen to it actively and expect to be engaged. You have to be in the right setting and right place to have this really hit. And for me, when I first heard it, this came out back in March, and I first listened to it probably once then. It didn't do anything for me, but we covered, Autumn Aurora on the Heavy Metallurgy channel for an album club episode, and I ended up spinning this around that, episode, and it fucking clicked. I was like, "Man, what was I doing wrong the first time?" And I think I was actively trying to find something, but the, uh the art of this album is in the repetition and how it builds the atmosphere, which is not different from any other Droop album, so I don't know what my issue was initially, but, uh, yeah, I think the opening track, "Scattering the Ashes," is very slow, and it's, like, almost 8 minutes long, and it really is just a dude walking in the woods for the first 3, so, you know, I would say track 5, "The Eve," is something special and is my favorite on the album, so but, ah, yep. Decrepacy did make your top 40, so there we go. And, that guy cheers, man. I don't know if you're in Oregon or if this album would best be listened to in Oregon, but, I agree. Yep. I do, and I think that's one reason why it clicked with me. I was listening to Autumn Aurora, and then I went back and played this one, and they didn't sound too far apart, and I basically realized the error of my ways at that point. But, I've never listened to The Residents, I will be honest with you. Abstract ambience. Sounds interesting. Alright, let's see, I'm on a time crunch here, I'm gonna move along. 36, Demonic Death Judge, absolutely launched. Look at this fucking album cover right here. This thing is, a trip, dude. I'm gonna zoom into that. This is actually a Finnish band, and I dubbed them as stoner sludge because some of the instrumentation feels like it'd be at home on a stoner rock, desert rock album, but the vocals are just snarling and filled with piss and vinegar. It's just that, like, wild man kinda shriek vocal performance, and this album clicks with me. I've been following Demonic Death Judge since the previous album, which didn't necessarily do that much for me, but this one, it feels like they've, trimmed up their songwriting a little bit. They're focusing on punchier, more anthemic tracks, and, yeah, I was on board for it, and the riffs are super tight. Some of the songwriting and, like, just lyrical choices are very tongue in cheek. Like, we got a song called "Natural Wine Guy," which is absolutely killer. Uh, "Goner" is also a great song. So, yeah, Rick, check this one out, man. This one stood the test for me. Like, it's just a no frill, bowl you over kind of riff-oriented sludge album, and I I needed those this year. I didn't pick up as many as previous years, but this one definitely did the trick and was great for a little adrenaline boost when I needed it, and also only like 37 minutes. Number 35, Cryptosis, Celestial Death. Another one from earlier in the year. Came out in March. Progressive thrash, but really, how do you describe Cryptosis? They're a newer band. This is their sophomore album, and they're really doing whatever they want, which is kind of cool for a new band. You guys heard of them? They're definitely, I think, thrash at heart, but they have such a just a modern metal sound, and I know that's a dirty word kinda, but in this instance, it's not. It makes me think of, like, a more spaced out Revocation or, um, Allegaeon. Um, it's like modern metal without being cringy. It's just, like, the production is polished and, um it kinda does it will pick up different pieces from other subgenres, you know? Like, there's certain tracks that make me think of black metal or symphonic black metal specifically. Like, there's a lot of keys on here, which is really surprising. And then there's just some melodic death metal, style, um, melodies on here, and it's ruined We've called it new thrash. I don't wanna listen to it anymore. But, Rick would also be right. This one is at number 35, mainly because I think Species came along, and it will be mentioned later in the list, but yeah, there's no competing. There's no competition. Still, this Cryptosis is very cool and something special, I think. I would pick this up if I saw it for, like, 12 bucks. Um, yeah, some great tracks, and as I said, there's a song that makes me think of Burzum, actually, which is bizarre. Like, it makes me think of, Nightfall off of, Philosophim, which is weird. But 35, Cryptosis. Oh my god, 34, look at this, uh, pink scene core Monster Vomit T-shirt album cover. Subnormal Dives by Bio Noise Generator. How do you talk about this album? I do definitely need to know if anyone else has heard of this one, because I could use some help. It's like a little bit of brutal death metal, kinda grindcore at its heart, but then it goes into some Naked City style jazz arrangements, and it's just a mess, really. It's an absolute awful mess, and I love it. It's like feels very schizophrenic, like you never necessarily know where you're at, but it's only like 20 minutes long. So why do you need to know where you are in a 20-minute long album? You're 1 minute closer to being done, you know? And but that's a good to me, I enjoy that fast-paced, like, jolty, um, vibe that this album gives off. It's entertaining, it's engaging, and at 20 minutes, I have continued to return to it. And it's just such a unique album for 2025, and I think in general, like, it feels different from, like, something that Naked City would have done or whoever else has played with, like, the jazz meets grime. We do have like a saxophone, so if you're allergic to saxophone, if you have one of those allergies, do not check this album out. If you're allergic to jazz and your metal, do not check this album out. But if you're a little open to that, yeah, check it out. Number 34, Bio Noise Generator, Subnormal Dives. Ah, yes. Hey, Nate knows it. I mean, they did sell out when they became Turbo Jazz Grind. I was much more a fan of their, gore noise lounge music, but I do not know Contrastic. What's their kinda sound? But here we go, moving along, number 33. This is kind of a Rick core band right here. I think Rick was indeed the first person to introduce this band to me, Rick and Chris Peshkommode, who was in here earlier. Gourd Embrace, In the Presence of a Malevolent Soul. So, this is from Chicago, Illinois, and it came out at the very beginning of the year, but I actually didn't really hear it until, um, yeah, kinda like October. That was after I was introduced to it, and it's killer stuff. It is top-notch, like, current day young death metal band that is paying proper tribute to, like, 90s suffocation and pyrexia and stuff. Also, you can still tell they're coming from a hardcore background. Like, I know that sounds like a bad thing, but to me, it's not on this album. Like, other bands, sure. Like, I was not necessarily able to get into the Sanguisuga Bog this year, and I've had issues with, like, um, 200 Stab Wounds and, like, the latest one from them, but this one it's it's just kinda evil, the drop, the riff changes and there's some bass drops that make me think of, like, classic Pierced from Within Suffocation, they're just sick. Like, some of the riff changes and the drum fills that segue into that, you just got to, like, make that grim fuck kind of face. It's, just an immediate shovel to the forehead. Um in really dynamic tracks too. Like you can tell one song from another, which I think is always important when it comes to uh, an album like this. Like often bands will blend together their songs and it'll just sound like one urge. But here, tracks like "Cold as the River," um, "Neurological Deception," and the closing track, "In the Presence of a Malevolent Soul," really do a good job of giving the album some just variety, and you can tell as you're moving along with it. So my favorite song is "Cold as the River." It's got probably one of the best death metal riffs of the year. Definitely check out Lord Embrace. I am keeping an eye on these guys. Like I'm bummed I didn't know about them sooner and have not gotten the chance to pick this one up yet, but I shall. And now I need another beer because I've been talking too much. But Ooh. You know what? We'll go for a crazy stout. I think I've earned it. We're on number 33. I gotta keep moving. It's almost an hour. But here, this is a holiday office party stout from a local brewery here called Abita Brewing. So it's like 6%. Yeah. It definitely has a 90s feel, that Gordon Brace album. Yeah, I'm in Louisiana, man. I don't know if you're in Oregon, if that's what you said earlier, but down here in New Orleans area, it was like 80 degrees today. So I have no right to be drinking a stout, but yeah, tis the season, whether the weather reflects it or not. I miss old Rasputin. Get that around here. The night's still young, Devin. Come on, I'm only look at this. I'm only on number 33 out of 50. I'm screwed. All right, moving along. So this isn't an 8-hour stream. Returning Numinous. We're back with some yeah, back with some Bind Rune atmospheric black metal. Um, this is just some phenomenal, beautiful stuff. I had to pick this one up as well. Came out in June. It's not often I think of atmospheric black metal with like summer and the feeling of summer. But this album right here makes me feel like I'm at a lake camping. Oh, fuck, Sean. I didn't realize that, man. I'm sorry. Cheers, buddy. Good to see you, man. You going to any cool shows recently? I've been kind of show absent for a bit. Ah, but yeah, no, fucking returning, man. It's hard to make the connection sometimes with people's usernames to faces, you know. So, in my defense, but good to see you, though, man. Thanks for tuning in. I'm thinking about seeing Garguts on the 18th, I think, at Saturn. So, oh, you'll be there. But summertime Cascadian black metal. That's a new one. Absolutely, kind of fell head over heels for this when this came out in June. I reviewed it for the Heavy Metallurgy channel. Here, let me put it up front and center. Beautiful embossed cover, which you can kind of see. Reflective. Um, three songs. There's two black metal tracks that bookend the middle song, "Ancestral Shadow Portal," which is very much. It's kind of in the vein of Hylung in that like folky, chanty, ritualistic. not even black metal, it's just that kind of music, and it's such a cool way to transition from one, like, 15-minute long black metal song to the next, and I do enjoy some Heilung and Wardruna, but as a full-length album, they become a bit much, so I'm happy that I can get that same vibe and feel, but only have it be one track versus the whole fucking album, so returning definitely succeed in doing something original and unique, I think, with Cascadian Black Metal in 2025. So absolutely was worth my list. And look at that, we're moving on up. It's an 8.4. Oh, I kind of see that. I don't know. I've been leaning towards shorter albums these days, Rick. Like a 38-minute black metal album actually works pretty well, and I'm on board with it. And that's one reason why I like this returning album was kind of in and out, and there's enough variety on here. But that's just me. But real quick, yes, Sean, that is. I just saw that, man. That is the show of the year. I'm not trying to make anyone else jealous, but Exhumed, No Mas, and Oxygen Destroyer, all in one night on a Friday night, no less. So hey, come on down to New Orleans. It's kind of nice down here sometimes. Before it turns into May. And that's where I'm at, honestly. I'm with Devin. I'd rather be left wanting more than wish it was over already. I am kind of erring on that side of caution these days when it comes to song length. So, mhm, here, number 31. I'm moving along. Oh, look, I snuck a post metal album in here. This is actually not even an album. This is an EP. Obscure Sphinx's latest EP, Emo Veer. This is their first like full length since, or first release of any kind since 2016's Epitaphs. So I'm just happy to see new Obscure Sphinx. For those that don't know, this is a Polish band that have released one of my favorite albums of all time, Void Mother, which this dreadful gentleman right here was nice enough to send my way. Thank you for probably one of the best. I don't know, one of the best albums ever showed up on my door. So cheers, man. Um, but I'm not too much into post metal these days. Like it's tough for me to find an album that actually gets me to sit the whole time. Like I don't know. It's all too polished or too long, or I'm always able to find something that's off with modern post metal. But Obscure Sphinx is a rare band, and this one only being 3 songs in like 30 minutes, it helps immensely. These tracks are absolutely breathtaking. They're gorgeous, but they also hit you like a ton of bricks. Um, Opening song, Scarcity Hunter. Yep, is amazing. And then the final track, Nether Grove, has an absolutely spine-chilling close. So, if you like post metal and don't know Obscure Sphinx, please check them out. Probably one of the most underrated bands I can think of. Poland. Check out their 2013 album, Void Mother, if anything. Dude, I've never seen No Mas. I've missed seeing them like probably 4 times at this point. So I'm hoping not to make it a thing. It might be that. Rick. There's something about the modern day post metal that bugs me just a little bit. I don't know. But speaking of some kind of gaze elements, Echoes of Gloom, The Mind's Eternal Storm. These guys are from Australia, and this is their debut album. It's atmospheric black metal, but sometimes you get the black gaze kind of melody in here. It's really beautiful stuff, and this is a superb riff album. Like it's has some like tempo changes where when the riff comes in, it's so powerful you can't help but be hooked on it. and very consistent overall. There's nothing out of place with this album. Like, each song is good. They do one thing which kinda ended up annoying me, unfortunately. There's, like, 2 or 3 tracks where they just fade out. Like, the song doesn't feel like it's ready to be over. It can still keep going on this phenomenal riff, but then it just fades and disappears, and that's how they end the album. Like, they go back to the main riff of the closing track, and then it just fades out, and I'm ready for it to be another, like, 2 minutes long, and it's kinda it feels like a wet blanket, being draped on you at the end of an album. But I'm not complaining about this whole album as a whole because it is a phenomenal release. Really caught my eye. I'm glad we got Tyler's stamp of approval. This is the black metal, aficionado. If he approves it, it's gotta be good. So, yeah. It's it's a cool blend of, like, atmospheric black metal, but it's got some, like, melodic black metal tinges to it as well. Like, the guitar work is really a highlight, so yes. A lot of people are showing horses on their covers. I don't know, but no unicorns, though. Missed opportunity, I say. Um, let's see, from number 30, breaking into 29. Oh, yes. Babe alert, watch out. Sorry, you're not supposed to say that. The music here is great. It's Savage Master, Dark and Dangerous. Um, this is their, I wanna say their 5th album? Yes. Wow, I'm right again with guessing. Uh, and I've been following Savage Master since their 2018 album, Myth, Magic, and Steel. That's their 3rd. And I've always liked them and, liked their kinda gimmick as a band, but it's never fully clicked with me until Dark and Dangerous, and this one fully sealed the deal. I am fully on board with this, like, '80s sleazy, like, rock and roll oriented album. It's fun. It's just it's sick, obscure sounding, but still commercially viable '80s metal, and it's just a blast, man. 11 tracks, 38 minutes. It does have the Judas Priest, like, Defenders of the Faith vibes, but it absolutely nails it, and still sounds unique. There's some just iconic choruses on here, "The Edge of Evil," "Devil's Child," "Screams from the Cellar." "I Never Want to Fall in Love" is like a Bon Jovi song, but it's so perfectly written. It's just expertly hooky. And then for me, the, track that seals the deal and made me really click with this album is the closing song, "Cold Hearted Death." It's like a ballad, but not really. It's like just a dark and sleek, um, kinda track that just builds, and I love the verses into the chorus, and yeah, just check out Cold Hearted Death if you check out anything off of this album, but Dark and Dangerous, Savage Master to me finally come into a unique sound that I can get behind that perfectly matches their stage presence and I think what they're going for as a band, so it was pretty rewarding hitting play on this album and thinking, "Yes, this is what I knew this band could do," so, yeah. Number 20, Dark and Dangerous. I would take that out for Thanksgiving. Yeah, man, agreed, Sean. Let's see. Oh, back to death metal. I think we're about to get to some killer death metal albums, and I am excited for it. First, all the way from Finland, it's a young band, and this is actually my first album with them, even though it's their 3rd overall. We've got Morbidfic, Bloom of the Abnormal Flesh. This is filthy, stinking, climbing, squirming, just old school death metal revival done right. The songwriting is here. The songwriting is excellent. The riffs are here. The atmosphere's here, and I just I love the flow of this album. Like, it does a good job going from, like, somewhat doomy at times to just, like, the fast-paced, knuckle-dragging Neanderthal, death metal, and just look at that album cover, it's the perfect summation of it, so I am now a Morbific fan. I've gone back to check out their other 2, and I don't know, this one I think is my favorite, but I've heard it by far the most. I got the chance to review it for Heavy Metallurgy, so that always causes me to listen to an album, like, at least 10 times. But absolutely love this one. Let me get some song titles here. Um, Panspermic Blight is a great track. Um, Track 2. And then when we get really, I think my favorite song is track 5, Womb of Deathless Deterioration. That has one of the nastiest riffs on the album. And yeah, it's one of those albums where it's almost too simple in execution, but therein lies the fun. So I initially enjoyed it when I reviewed it, put it down, and then I kinda came back to it in November, and I ended up loving it even more than I did initially, so one that I wanna buy, and another one, if you don't own this one, go to Caligari Records, pick it up, it's like $7 or $8 for a new CD there. I haven't yet because 'cause I'm a poser, but I'll get to it. Oh, number 27, Sejin with Helgen Combat. I think I did that alright. So out of the ashes of, oh, god damn it. This is what happens when I drink a stout, all the the initial bands I was gonna mention disappear. Out of the ashes of Necros Christos comes Sejin. And I'm not familiar with their debut, so that could I know that it has influenced how people view this one, but this is their sophomore album, and I am kinda head over heels for how unique it is. I mean, it does have just a thrash backbone to it. That's why I've called it or dubbed it thrashy death metal. It it moves like a 1980s thrash album. Like, people have mentioned that it sounds like Megadeth, and honestly, I agree. Like, the the feel of the bass and the guitar interacting definitely sounds like Peace Cells era Megadeth, and it is very cool to hear that on an album like this with these, like, nasally are they death metal snarls or are they thrash metal? They're kind of in between. It's the whole package is very cool and unique. I just love the production on this, so absolutely great album. Sean, have you heard this one? Because I would recommend this, man. This fucking thing is awesome. It's got one of my favorite songs of the year on it. Religious Insanity Denies Slavery. Check out that track if anything. It is fucking awesome. Let me let me read some of the lyrics on this one. Yeah, now your J key is forever stuck down. Sorry, Chris. But here's some of the lyrics. The rules you proclaim are nothing but lies. Genital cutting till every field dies. Tell me how valid is the truth of your thoughts. Fuck your religion. Go fuck your God. Man, they're yep, kind of blunt. They're not being very abstract or obtuse on this album. They're very bluntly delivering the goods, and that must be more of the thrash coming in. But it's yeah, it's a cool album, and it delivers a lot of killer riffs and just fast paced, you know, blood pumping anthems. Another cool thing about Religious Insanity, that track I just read from, there's a middle section that makes me think of Black Sabbath and like the Paranoid era Black Sabbath, which is really cool. Did not expect that on this album. Let's see, 26, Wake, Return of Magic. I'm at an hour and 9 minutes, so I gotta move along. I'm gonna try to be quicker. Um, yeah, I had the pleasure of seeing these guys live, reviewing this for Heavy Metallurgy, and featuring uh, Voices of Omens on a Heavy Metallurgy album club. So 2025 was a heavy year for Wake for me. So I'm a huge fan of this band, and I think this comeback, it feels genuine, it feels legit, and like they're coming from the right place. So very happy that this one landed successfully for me. Um, Devin, I would say Voices of Omens, but I'm kind of biased. I'm with Kellen. I mean, that album was a very formative album for me back early on in my sludgy days, and but it is longer though. It's almost an hour, and this one actually might be more digestible. So, The Return of Magic or Voices of Omens are the ones I would suggest. But yeah, cool gatefold I picked up when I saw them live on like some kind of vomitous color. But the first three tracks especially just destroy for me. I absolutely love You Swore We'd Always Be Together, The Return of Magic, and with Stardust Flowers. Some phenomenal riff writing on Stardust Flowers, especially. So, one of the comebacks of 2025 that absolutely landed and felt like they were doing it for the right reason. Huh. And I'm out of music again. It's the issue when you only pick a short 30-minute death metal album. Let's see. What's going on? For anyone wondering, we just finished listening to Innumerable Forms, Pain Effulgence. Let me see what is next. We'll go with this. But while I'm putting this in, let's see what's next up on the chopping block of the list. Aha! Mephitic Corpse back with some death metal. And this one absolutely blew me away when I first heard it. As you can see, it came out February 1st, so it was relatively early on in the year, but it stuck with me. This nasty, just filthy slab of death metal stuck with me, and they really do play a interesting blend of uh I need to get a new CD player if you guys can't hear that. Yeah. Hey, it worked. It probably is J Dog Core, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's not for the posers or the wimps or the pink panty wearers. It's fun, man. It's a 28-minute long album. Like it's half gore grind, half old school death metal, and the riffs really hit it. I've talked about this one a whole bunch throughout the year, because it was one of the first ones I listened to. But some of the best track lists of the year. We got songs called "Screwgun My Spleen," "Teething on Clots," "Rectal Bugs," and "Intrusive Thoughts Lead to Impatient Butchering." Fucking nasty. It could be J-Dog Core, but I think a little bit of that is healthy. We can we can all go a little Cro-Magnon from time to time and, get that out of our system, and I think, this is the album for it for me in 2025. Mephitic Corpse. And let's see, man, this one, yeah, Head Split and Extremely Rotten Productions put this one out. So, but I don't know if you saw this band live, Sean, when they came through back in May, but they opened up for Corpus Opal, and I was lucky enough to see them both. All right, I gotta let my cat out of the room. and let's see what's up next first. Oh, a flock named Murder. Yep. So I reviewed this one for Heavy Metallurgy early on in the year. This is a flock named Murder's second album, Incendiary Sanctum, and this is a cool one. This is a very cool one. It's one of those albums that straddles a little bit of everything, and like if you can tell in the genre, I put it's atmospheric black metal, a bit of post metal, and a bit of like introspective doom metal, all catered in. But it's 100% like emotive, extreme, really long as well. It's an hour long, 4 songs. Each track is like 15 to 20 minutes. It definitely takes time and is a slow burn. And you you once again need to be in the mood. It's like that Druk album. You can't just put it on and expect to click with it. You need to let yourself be immersed, be out in nature, need to be doing something that, you know, kind of caters to this experience. Um, I we of course, are on the Mississippi River, and there's a levee that runs like the whole course of the Mississippi, and a nice trail on that levee, man. I had a great time biking on there during this album, and it really clicked during that bike ride. It was a nice like kind of spring day. Sun was going down, kind of just really made this album emotionally click. It's definitely heavy, and the themes of mortality and loss and grief definitely come through when you let it. So I did find Incendiary Sanctum worthwhile, and though it's not one of those albums to return to because of how long it is and how much of an investment, it's one that you will remember when you do. Oh, fuck yes, Beast Wars. Any of you guys know Beast Wars around here? This is a New Zealand band. They've been long running since about 2008, I want to say. Yeah, 2007. Uh, this is their fifth album, and they're an interesting band, man. Like I would definitely just classify them as sludge and a little bit of stoner, but there's so much more than that. Like there's so much more homage to '90s grunge and rock and roll, and just even just classic rock overall. Like it, it hits a lot more genuine and like an honest expression of emotional rock and roll more so than I guess stoner making about getting the munchies or smoking a bowl does. Like this music will stick with you. The songs are short and sweet, and they do lean more in that rock and roll kind of vibe, but I think it's better for it. Um, this is somewhat of a comeback album. Their singer was in a fight with cancer like a couple years ago, so I was not sure if we were going to hear any more of Beast Wars, but thankfully, the ship in the sea proved me wrong. Highly recommend track 7, The Howling. Absolutely like crowbar level riffs in that track. Song 3 and 4, Levitate and the Storm, super catchy, but then also they incorporate a bit more atmospheric building in the guitar writing. Like there's some more background melodies going on, which are cool. So unfortunately, you're never going to be able to find a physical copy of a Beast Wars album in the US. So that's another reason why I wanted to do this video on my channel and have a fucking slideshow, because otherwise I would never be able to talk about Beast Wars and the ship this season. All right, number 22. No, Jeff. We still have more to cover. I'm not done talking about 2025. I promise I will be though. One more hour. This will do it. I'm not addicted, I can quit whenever I want to. Number 22, Whoa, Whoa, Far from the Light of Heaven. I have dubbed this as castle metal, and I think that's kind of a new genre. Congrats, guys. We've unlocked a new genre in 2025. Really, it's been around for a bit, but Obsequiae kind of started it back up, I wanna say, but bands like Weldon Woe and another one from this year, Mork, Morke, are doing it justice, so I definitely had to pick this one up. These guys are from Idaho. The the main guy also plays in another project called By Fire and Sword, which is evangelical new wave of traditional heavy metal, but it's very tongue in cheek. Definitely check out uh their album Glory by Fire and Sword as well. But this one, Far from the Light of Heaven by Weldon Woe, is absolutely phenomenal too. I'm a huge fan of the guitar tone on this one. It is bright like the sun. It's absolutely beautiful, but the attack, it's kind of vicious too. Like it doesn't pull any punches. The vocals don't pull any punches, and it's a short burst of energy kind of album. So Weldon Woe, number 22. All right, picking up the pace. Oh, Tyler, I hope you're still there, man. Because this one, I think I saw you talk about. This one blew me away. Sepulcher? Sepulcher? I don't know. Psalms unto Caesar. This is some atmospheric black metal. Came out in July, and this is actually the debut recording of this band. They're from Tennessee. Um, Absolutely blew me away. They kind of play a style of black metal, which is I've listed it as atmospheric, but it is so much more than just atmospheric black metal. There's some symphonic touches in here. There's some harsh, more like noisier sections, and it kind of all blends together into one unique style that I think really is an impressive landmark for United States black metal in 2025. Some of the melodies on this track, on this album, are phenomenal. The closing title track, especially, has this one sweeping guitar line, which gives me chills. I'm not gonna lie. I absolutely love the title track. It's like 11 minutes long, but it is worth the price of admission alone. Um, Other tracks like Feel Like Gods, more of that symphonic style, and others like War and Pestilence and With Wrath and Glorious Vengeance feel a bit more abrasive and harsh. So it's just so cool how many genres and styles of black metal they straddle successfully as their debut. So 8.6 is my rating for this one. And Kellen, no, I actually do not know. I've heard of them, but do not know any of their albums. I will take a recommendation, though. I'm always up for it. Are they atmospheric black metal? What are we talking about? Made it to 20. One of Nine, Dawn of the Iron Shadow. Another atmospheric black metal album, which is so much more than just atmospheric black metal. Um, Absolutely blew me away when I heard this. It came out back in October, well, as you can tell, October 31st, and it immediately just landed. And it's probably one of the coolest summoning worship, but not really quite summoning worship albums I've heard. There's definitely enough like melodic black metal intensity to kind of make it not just a summoning worship album, but there's still these majestic, beautiful symphonic passages like uh, the opening song and Quest for the Cimarils are just gorgeous. Like the symphonic elements there, yeah. Opening song, the silence. Oh wait. That's the wrong album. Uh, Age of Chains and, yeah, Quest of the Silmaril are absolutely gorgeous, so let's see. Sean, if you're talking about the, Sepulcher, I would say definitely a bit more better produced than Paysage d'Hiver and a bit more immediate too. Like, that album is only, like, 38 minutes long, and it's not it's not like listening to, black metal that's being played in another room or another section of the house, it's a bit more in your face and aggressive, which I appreciate, but at the same time, it's still not clean and polished, so it's harsh enough to kinda be a defining feature of it, to me at least. Yeah, nope. I'm familiar with them. I will be checking them out, man, especially since I'm kinda in that mood right now. Just finished listening to Sacramentum's debut and, could use more stuff like that. But no, this One of Nine, it's great to see all the love that they've been getting. I've just realized recently they're from my home state of North Carolina and from Charlotte, which I lived in for, just over 5 years, so it's cool that a hometown band is getting signed to Profound Lore and getting, so much love and attention. But moving on, back to sludge, back to my bread and butter, my favorite style, In the Company of Serpents, they're cracking everything. I've talked about this one a couple times, I've definitely featured it on the other end of year videos, so I'll make this one brief, but from Denver, Colorado, we've got a perfect representation of how regional sludge should sound. Like, this feels like the rolling Midwest hills and mountains. It feels of Americana and kind of regret. This is a album written about the lead singer battling alcoholism and finding sobriety, and there's definitely some, moments on this that they just kinda hit home, not 'cause of the alcoholism thing, but, it's like anyone who's, like, wants to make a change within themselves for whatever reason, they do fight certain demons that pop up in songs like A Patchwork Heart and, Don't Look in the Mirror. But the best song on this album is Endless Well. That has this epic hook that just immediately caught my attention. One of the best songs of the year, Endless Well. Check it out. Yeah, In the Company of Serpents from Denver, and, it's cool that they're getting some more attention, like, they were on the decibel list this year, so whew. Oh, man, I'm at an hour and a half. Ah, yep, 18, Corner Dissonance Theory. One of those albums that has been talked about a lot this year, kind of a fan favorite, and probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest comeback of 2025, and I get it. I get it. I am a big fan of this album. I mean, it's an 8.6 out of 10 for me. A lot of these songs really do hit and really do land, not necessarily in the same way that any of Corner's previous albums do, but in a way that modern metal does. As I said in previous times and reviews of talking about this, it makes me think of Gojira and Meshuggah at times, which I get that maybe you don't want that in your corner, but I think it's cool. And yeah, I guess Devin, I get that, and I think if I had more of an attachment to early Corner, I would feel similarly, but I'm a, Mental Vortex fan and did not find the jump to this to be that big, and also I'm a fan of all those modern metal bands that I was, talking about, and tracks like, The Law, Renewal, Symmetry, and Consequence all just hit perfectly. Just some great fucking songs here, I think. Well written, slick, great riffs, modern metal. I'm just listing off words now, but it's good. Yeah, Sean, did you see him at Siberia with me? Were you there? I think you were. That was a killer live show. One of my favorite concerts of 2025 was Corner and Deceased. I forgot. Oh, Wisdom was the opening band. Yeah. Yes. Kellen, I would love to put one of your rants right here in this video. I think that would be a great addition, but we'll have to wait for Wednesday. Uh, and I get it. I get it. I think that's a fair assessment, but also I'm okay with it. I forgot to mention this is what's playing in the background in the company of Serpent. So good stuff. Oh, where are we? Ah, Zecritus, Zycridius, however you say it. La Grande Heresy. Uh, how do you describe this? It's black metal, but it's like Hellenic black metal, like Rotting Christ, Thou Art Lord, Marathon. But then also it's a bit more fast paced. It's got this like heavy metal gallop to it. Just a cool, unique album from 2025 that I haven't really heard too much like it in the modern era. So I was really blown away. It's a one man project by Phil Togas. I don't know if I said his last name correctly. There's the guy. And you will know him from Worm. He's the current guitarist there. Um, also, Cathelus and Atramintus. He's a man of many projects, so he gets around. And I guess what's one more? This is just such a cool sounding album. It sounds ancient and lost to time, but it's fucking cool. I was really impressed with this. I kind of wish it would end up higher on my list here, but I think it blends together just a little bit. Like the songs themselves are all good, but individually they don't make as much of an impact as they do as a full cohesive unit. I will say this album has some phenomenal lead bass work. Yes, you heard me right. The bass is all over this thing, jumping around and doing basically lead guitar solos. It's amazing. It's super cool. Uh, Also, there's a "Thou Art Lord" cover at the very end, which is worth the price of admission as well. So another one that I'm happy a lot of people ended up talking about because it's deserved the attention. I did not know he was in Funebrarum. That's cool. All right. Ah, another Transcending Obscurity release, and this one was very much up my alley. Floating, Hesitating Lights. I I'm a big fan of like the weird Swedish death metal that kind of was cropping up around the 2000s and stuff, or like mid to late 2000s, 2010s. Cheers, Callum. Thanks for sticking around for a bit, man. Cool to see you on a Thursday. Um, I'm talking about bands like Morbus Chron, uh, Early Tribulation, like Formulas Fatal to the Flesh, or no, that's fucking. I always get that wrong. Formulas of Death. There we go. Um, and I'm happy to finally have another band in 2025 that is just being a little weird with their like typical Swedish death metal and floating. Absolutely achieve it. It's kind of out there. It's got some definitely some post punk to it and some progressive leaning, but the way that they write songs, it's just bizarre. It feels like you're in a fever dream, and I know that's part of the goal. is to feel like you're, both awake and asleep, and who knows what else. But man, they almost succeed too well. Like a lot of these tracks kind of ebb and flow feverishly. It's really cool. Tracks like "Exit Bag Song" and "The Wrong Body" especially are odd trips. So, all right, "Floating," another one of those bands though that on Transcending Obscurity I could not pick up. Another Swedish band. There we go. But hopefully I'll find this band eventually. Vile Rights is a good call. I that last album they did, um, was it last year, 2024? Was pretty good. I it did not, catch me enough to end up on a list, but definitely worth checking out. 15, Caustic Wound, Grinding Mechanism of Torment. I I absolutely love this album. This thing absolutely kicked me in the teeth when it came out. I, enjoyed Caustic Wound's debut album, but this one blew it out of the water. I kinda wasn't expecting it to be so successful, such a barn burner, but it really is. Like, the first one, they kinda blended together a little bit. All the tracks kind of seamlessly just merged, and there's riffs here and there, but not too much else to identify it. Grinding Mechanism of Torment, it, like, rages and shreds like a grindcore album, but there's just individual recognizable songs that you immediately know when they come on, they kick you in the teeth, and they get out in, like, a minute. I love tracks like, oh oh, yeah, I own it right here. I can read it off. Track 6, "Blackout," one of my favorite songs of the year. It the vocalist just shouts, "Blackout," then the song drops like a nuke. Drone Terror, Human Shield, um, Technologist Hell Future, Horrible Earth Death, and then the closing track, Into Cold Death Universe, is phenomenal. And that closing song is cool because it's like 8 minutes long and it really tries to build this like atmosphere of just death and destruction. So it's a unique album of just death grind, but with like a hardcore level of intensity. So I think this band really figured out their sound and how they wanted it to be on their sophomore effort, Grinding Mechanism of Torment. So was happy to have this high up on my list. And as a beer drinker has to do sometimes, I gotta take a piss. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back. Here is this band to keep you company. Yes, thank you for your patience. That was the quarterly break right there. We're back now. We're gonna wrap this up. I'm trying to be done within 30 minutes. Famous last words. But yeah, from Caustic Womb, let's give some even nastier fucking death metal. Yes. Piss Grave. Malignant Worthlessness. This this thing absolutely destroys all the competition. It is 30 minutes of death metal, but it's not really death metal. It has like the intensity of war metal. You study these riffs, you study how the drums are playing. It's very much um, on the beat, on just nonstop, hitting you over the head over and over again. It has that war metal feel, but then the riff writing and the speed of it can be more death metal oriented, and I think they absolutely nailed it. I've been following Pissgrave since their debut, and they've only gotten better, and they've jumped light years to get to Malignant Worthlessness. Like, I was a fan of, Posthumous Humiliation, but it would not have made this list probably. But Malignant Worthlessness absolutely destroys a lot of albums on this list, and basically anything else that I'm not talking about tonight. It is pissed off, malicious, and just disgusting. Look, Profound Lore had to censor the album cover. That's how bad it is. So, thankfully, I've got the uncensored version. So, here, real quick. I think this is a steak dinner with a side of rice and like a egg over easy right here. So, for anyone who's hungry out there, Malignant Worthlessness. And one last shout out, my definite song of the year and one of the best songs I've heard. Track 6, Internment Orgy. That track will literally make you want to punch through drywall. It is such an immediate adrenaline pumping riff, and it just goes the whole way through. I absolutely adore a lot of this album. So, Pissgrave, knock it out of the park on Malignant Worthlessness. I actually did not realize they had an album this good in them, but very, very happy to admit Pissgrave blew me away. Who knew? Another fan favorite from the year, Vulture's Vengeance. Kellen is no longer in the chat, but I found this album thanks to him. So, cheers, Kellen. This is new wave of traditional heavy metal. Oh, I didn't even realize that worked out like that. I think I was subconsciously needing to pee thinking about Pissgrave. Um, but no, Vulture's Vengeance though. I absolutely happy to see this band and album do as well as they have because they deserve it. This is their sophomore effort. I have not heard their debut yet, so let that be known. I don't know, Devin. What was there something in particular that didn't click with you? Was it the vocals or like the songwriting or production? Because there are definitely a couple different things that I could see being sticking points for people. The vocals, for sure. To me, they're a dead ringer for the first two Blind Guardian albums and Hansi's vocal performance. I just love the emotional urgency and sincerity that I kind of get from them. They don't sound overly polished. Like there's some imperfections there. And you can tell he's Italian too, or at least he's not a traditional American speaker with how he's pronouncing some of the words. It's cool to hear him sing songs like "Reign of Severance." You know, to me, it sounded like he was saying "End of Cerberus" or something like that. Oh, I don't know. I was immediately blown away by some of the like, choruses on Dust Age, Queen of the Last Light, Reign of Severance, City of a Thousand Blades. Like, to me, a lot of this new wave of traditional heavy metal stuff can sound samey and unremarkable, but this sounded, uh, ancient, old, but, like, kinda timeless at the same time. Like, just a unique sound and feel. I had to pick it up. This was, High Roller Records. I don't know, like, the songs are kind of interestingly written, you know? I enjoy the way the guitar melodies lead into the choruses and stuff. I think the tracks do tend to be more chorus driven. Like, you either like the choruses or you don't, and that kinda depends on how you feel about the album. But overall, I absolutely love most of the tracks on here. I think it ends on a weak note, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Almighty Temple of Men and the closing track, It Holds. To me, those are the 2 weakest songs, and I would've liked for it to have ended just as strongly as it opened with Dust Age, but I don't know, the guitar lead work, the vocal melodies overall, so many great tracks. And don't worry, Kevin, I will not tell Kellen. He's offline. We're good. Alright, let's see. I gotta move on to Gates of Dawn. You guys know this one at all? This is kind of I heard some people talk about this. Like, I might have picked this one up from, Ben Brain Smasher. He might have posted it. That's where I heard it from, but this is some crazy out there black metal. Like, I don't even wanna call it black metal to a certain extent. It's very much psychedelic rock. It's like psych prog rock with, like, some black metal sections in it, and as soon as I started to listen to this album with that in mind, it clicked, like, big. When I was trying to get, like, a black metal feel from it, yeah, it wasn't working for me, but I think if you go in expecting that, you're gonna have a great time, and you're gonna love the direction that some of these songs head in, 'cause they go in some crazy off the wall directions and just some jam band level instrumentals. The guitar work here is phenomenal. The synths and the other instruments, there's a whole bunch of other percussion instruments playing too, and it's super cool. Yeah, these guys are from, Minnesota, right? That's cool. You know, this is fucking awesome. I would love to see you guys live and have the chance to pick this up on, physical media because it's sold out from wherever I've looked, but I know they still have it with them when they play live. But Gates of Dawn 3, maybe not as nightmarish as Kiranzi Pazuzu. I think this is a bit warmer, maybe a bit safer, if that might sound like a neg, but it's not. I still really like this album. It just feels kinda calming at times, which is really cool, but then still has the black metal bite from the vocals and certain guitar lines and sections that kinda come and go, so Gates of Dawn really blew me away. There are a couple phenomenal tracks on here. Faces in the Fire is the one that really stood out to me, but then there's a 15-minute long just jam band song, which is really fun to get lost in. I've enjoyed getting lost in that song as well, and the closing track is awesome too. Let me get it. Trembling Gaze is the 15-minute long, like, jam-oriented song, and then closing track, Fell Spectre, has some beautiful haunting vocals. They're really, in the album in a unique way, so cool album. I honestly have not heard anything quite like this probably ever, let alone in 2025, so definitely caught my ear and was cool to dive into. Hope to be able to support these guys somehow at some point. Ah, Pestafear. I gotta get quick. My voice is starting to go from talking too much. There Was Never Light. Melodic black metal, also from Minnesota, I want to say. Oh, I didn't know there were so many fucking Minnesota bands, but these guys absolutely blew me away. Um, I found this album from Jim because he had put out their debut, Hope, Misery, Death, on Iowa's recordings, and he immediately fell in love with this album, and I'm right there with him. There Was Never Light is such a step up from the debut. It feels so much more fully realized, like Pestifear's sort of unique sound of melodic black metal. Very riff oriented, very repetitive, but it's for their own benefit that they've kind of, nailed down on the riff. Because tracks like Fade at Dawn, Between the River and the Wood, and closing track Death and Sleep all have these guitar sections that will just carry you away as a listener, and they repeat just enough. But honestly, I wouldn't mind if they just kept going for like another 5 or 10 minutes. So if you're interested in melodic black metal at all, definitely check out Pestafear. They don't have CDs out at this time, but cassettes and records. I'm too cheap to buy the record, unfortunately. So I'll be a cassette guy for this one. But no, absolutely ecstatic that a band like this kind of put out an album that really blew me away. So there we go. Number 11, Pestafear. Wow. I'm regretting doing all 50 albums in one go. Oops. You live and you learn, right? I'll do a shorter list next year. Finally, though, the top 10. And here it is, Species Changelings. Talk about an album that really blew me away. And I was not expecting it. Like, I remember the first couple times I listened to this, I was like, what am I listening to? Like, it's a bit much to kind of wrap your head around, especially when you're not expecting it, you know? Like, it's a 20 buck spin band. Their band photo shoot, they've got a bunch of Hawaiian shirts on and look very unassuming. But here is some legitimately impressive and jaw-dropping progressive thrash metal. And I say thrash, but I could say death. I mean, it's like a death thrash hybrid. Like, it could be a lot of different things. You could say it's like tech thrash too, or tech death, but no, it's not. It's its own thing, and it's a unique homage to maybe like what Cynic and Atheist were doing, but mixed in with a bit more off the wall voivodisms and stuff. Like, there are some tracks that are just so fucking cool and go into so many different weird directions. Um, I did end up purchasing this. It has not come in the mail yet. I am still waiting. I'm a little disappointed, honestly, because I thought it would be here by now, but such is the post these days. Guess what? We're paying more now for for postage. Oh well. Track 3, Waves of Time, is my absolute favorite song on this album. There's a guitar riff in here that makes me think of Carcass, actually. It makes me think of Death Certificate, I think, from Carcass. But it fits perfectly on this kind of album. And then the instrumental track Voyager is a highlight, and Biological Masterpiece, the closer. I'm still kind of digesting these songs and can't wait to own this on physical, because like this will be a great car commute kind of album. So yeah. From Poland, a fan favorite from the year that the fans were right, the hype is real. Check out Species with their album Changeling. Number 9. Oh man. Another one I'm still waiting on from the post office. And this is actually a Transcending Obscurity record that I picked up. Veil Burner with Longing for Triumph, Reeking of Tragedy. Veil Burner are a weird fucking band, and I've been putting off getting into them for a while. Like, I've been aware of them for a couple of years, but they just seem like always a bit too obtuse, and, they put out too many albums as well. Like, it's hard to keep up with a band such as this when they're releasing an album every single year, and the albums are always abstract and weird, and, you don't know how to approach a band like this. So, I guess finally I hit the point I was ready to dive in, and this is the album that did it for me, and I was I was immediately impressed, and kicking myself for not trying out this band sooner. This one has a weird Ouroboros kinda feel to it, like, the opening and closing song are, like, connected in that they open in the same and end in the same way. I think it feels like a nod to The Wicker Man. There's a chant of, "We carry death," and it's very cool and hypnotic, and then it launches into this, like, psychedelic, hellish landscape of avant-garde black death metal. Like, this band does what they want, and it's for their benefit, you know? There's some tracks that make me think more of death metal, some tracks that make me think more of black metal, but one of the highlights, though, is the vocal performance, and that makes me think of Mayhem, though, and the vocal performance, on, you know, De Mysteriis Dom Satanas and, um, Grand Declaration of War. So, as soon as I kinda clicked with that, this album really started to unfold, and as I said, the opening and closing tracks are really a highlight, and the closing track especially is triumphant. It feels triumphant and epic, like, it actually gets, like, this positive feel of it, even though it's called "Reeking of Tragedy." It feels like, you know, we're happy about it. Like, it's got this weird feel, and it must be, like, as this demonic death wheel, wonder wheel horse is crashing into the city or something. I don't know. It's like as everything is burning down, we're, relishing in it. It's got just an interesting vibe to it. And the whole album does, and it especially works on more psychedelic-oriented tracks, like, there's a track called "Ouroborean Whirl," which is really weird in the guitar like, this is a guitar album as well. Like, you definitely have to be on board for some weird guitar. Alright, any, CD requests? I'll be here for one more CD. Gotta find one more thing to play. That was "In the Company of Serpents" with "A Crack in Everything." And, might as well put in my next pick, I guess. This is the ultimate fan favorite of the year. Avocado, The Vast Land. Finnish pagan black metal, but really this is just Finnish heavy metal. Their, 4th or 5th album, I wanna say. I hate the CD player. There we go. But, the one that I finally checked out and clicked with, and I've been aware of them, but, never gave them enough time. The Vast Land, it's undeniable. It's epic. It's, you know, triumphant. The black metal elements are still there, but so are these, like, super cool heavy metal elements. It absolutely just slays. Probably to me, there I can always tell when there's, like, a fan favorite from any given year. The metal community supported Havoc more than any other band. I mean, maybe you could argue Coroner, but I still think Havoc and the Vastland ended up being the fan favorite. Everyone was talking about this for good reason. For good reason. It won the Discord servers poll for best, metal album of 2025. and was a couple of the Metallurgists' favorite too. Like Allen and Zoller picked this one as their favorite. But for me, the guitar work is amazing, and the bass work is almost just good. In fact, the bass tone on this one is one of my favorites. Track 2, I will not pronounce it, but it's got this such a cool bass sound. I gotta turn this down. Fuck yeah, man. Have a Krunu, Aslan, easily, um, probably one of the best Finnish metal bands, and Devin does a great job of summing it up. They are there for Moon Sorrow. They're filling that gap that Moon Sorrow have left behind. I would love for new Moon Sorrow. It's been since 2016. We're at a decade since their last album. So come on, guys. But have a Bruno. Thank you. This really is that good. The title track to Vastland and Oma are my two favorites on this album. All right, moving right along. Oh my god, in the top 10. Oh, this is my poser pick of the evening. Sorry, guys. I gotta talk about this. I'm a huge Deftones fan. They were one of my first bands ever to like kind of like claim as my own. It was the album Diamond Eyes, and I remember picking that one up in store back when I was 16, and immediately blown away. It's still a 10 out of 10 perfect album for me, and the fact that I think this band is still releasing commercially viable but still interesting music is a testament to how impressive they are. Like they are still exploring, they are still creating interesting sonicscapes and um unique vibes, you know? Like tracks Ecdysis, Infinite Source, Souvenir, they all kind of bring different elements to the Deftones sound. And I think what makes this album cool is it does it in a way where they're trying to bring a little variety in there and a little bit more pacing. Like it feels like it flows a little bit better than the previous album. All I'm a big fan of too, but this one flows better, and some of the tracks are even stronger too. I think about you all the time is like kind of the ballad of the album, but then at the same time, there's just this one section just so beautiful towards the second half. Great riffs on tracks like Milk of Madonna, Cut Hands, CXV, and then the final track, Departing the Body, is just an ethereal, like immersive closer. I mean, you got to give credit to a band who's still experimenting and making like somewhat out there music at such a commercial level. And I did a thing where I waited till I picked this one up on release day to actually listen to it. Like I was basically trying to relive the glory days of Finding Diamond Eyes and Koi no Yukon and stuff, and wanted to have that experience. And it was really cool. It kind of helped to cement the impact of private music and Deftones in 2025. They still got it. I'm still a fan of them. It's cool to have a band that I, at the age of 16, enjoyed, and now that I'm double that age. I'm 32 now. Jesus Christ, I still love this band, and that's kind of neat to have, you know. Um, I wasn't listening to Suffocation right out the gate at 16. I might have been like 17 or 18, but all right, sip list Belwich and Aerial Ruins Stygian Bow Volume 2. So this is kind of my funeral doom pick for the year. I think I can only have my my patience has waned, unfortunately. My attention span has shrunk, and I only have enough space for so many hour-long albums a year, and I would have loved for Awoken to been here. I would have loved for, I mean, there was definitely another Funeral Doom. Oh, Oramet, that Oramet album to have been here. But this spot was claimed by Bellwitch long ago. I'm a big Bellwitch fan. I was absolutely blown away by Mirror Reaper. If you can't, oh yeah, there it is. Fucking represent. Yes, Devin, I do like Ahab. They were one of the first Funeral Doom bands I ever heard with Call of the Ocean, and I don't own enough Ahab, but what I do own, I like. Like I don't have Call of the Ocean yet, but I have a couple of their more recent albums, and but most of the Glenn Craig is my favorite that I own. Like that, the Giant, and yeah, I don't, I don't remember the one that came out literally last year, but for me, it didn't stick with me. I didn't return to it. The recent Ahab one, I yeah, something yeah, but for 2025 though, Bellwitch was the band for Funeral Doom, and I just think they are writing more compelling music than basically ever since Mirror Reaper came out. That's how they feel on Stygian Bow Volume 2. They feel inspired. They feel like they have purpose to the songs. I will say I was very disappointed in the last Bellwitch full length, The Clandestine Gate. That one just didn't do anything for me, man. I really it felt like they were trying to rehash Mirror Reaper for the sake of it without the good. And it's a bummer to have that feeling. But with the Stygian Bow series, I don't get that. Like I think the addition of Aerial Ruin, Eric from Aerial Ruin is phenomenal. And I mean he does sing cleanly, all clean vocals on this, but the tracks move at almost a faster pace, which is kind of ironic because I'm talking about Funeral Doom, but it feels faster as you're going through it, and you can tell one section of a track from another. And yeah, songs like From Dominion and King of the Wood, absolutely phenomenal. From Dominion is actually one of my favorite Bellwitch songs, period. Favorite song on the album, probably one of my favorite songs of the year. It's got this like um sustaining melodic guitar line that just gives me chill every time I hear it. Absolutely adore it. The guitar work on here from Eric is killer. Like there's some heavy metal inspired lines and even solos. Like he does actual solos on here. Uh the whole band just sounds a little more reinvigorated, and this one to me is better than Stygian Bow Volume 1. So they did it, guys. Good job. Uh yeah. I don't I'm back on the Bellwitch train. Not that I was ever off, but still it's cool to find an album that is this good. I should have mentioned it on Deftones, but we're officially in the 9 out of 10 score. So these are all 9 out of 10s for me as far as ratings go. I want to make a video about ratings at some point because I think that's an interesting, topic. Like when you say a score or a description, like, what do you mean? Like, it helps us understand where other people are coming from more. Like how likely am I to give something an 8, or how likely am I to give something a 9? That kind of discussion. Different night though. Number 5. Good God, I'm almost done here. Mesa, The Spin. This is another fan favorite. You can tell it's all over the place. This is like unclassifiable, doom gaze jazz post stuff. Yep, whatever you say. It's it's beautiful is what it is. It's enthralling, it's gorgeous. The singer is absolutely just knocks it out of the park. She makes the album. Um, Sarah is her name. She just absolutely slays the band. There's her. I think Mr. Rick Contreras is currently courting her. For anyone who's wondering, um, yeah, no, this album feels important. It's impactful. They go a lot of different cool directions. And is it a metal album? That is a great question. 'Cause I think you can make the argument that it's not, but then at the same time, some of the best moments on this album would not be as good without the metal elements, without the big bombastic guitar lines, the more urgent pace of the drums, and even one section where Sarah throws on this, like, harsh growl attack at the final closer, Thicker Blood. Um, to list off some of my favorite songs, Fire on the Roof is it's like a pop song, but with just such a driving hard rock kind of vibe to it. Immolation is like jazz from Twin Peaks, like you're in the Red Room or whatever, but absolutely haunting stuff. And then Reveal is a, like, Southern swagger kind of, rock song. Very cool. Somehow incorporates blast beats with this, like, Southern guitar riff. Yeah, unique album from Italy, uh, Esta, The Spin, and I'm gonna be getting back to, the previous album, Closer, and definitely checking out some of their other material because absolutely blown away by this. So, number 5. Oh, man, almost there. 4, Cosmic Reaper, Bleed the Wicked, Drown the Damned. Stoner Doom, released in September. Let me make this quick. This is up my alley. This is exactly what I look for. I'm a big Stoner Doom fan. This is a local band for me from Charlotte, North Carolina originally, and I did not know they had an album like this, and that's, I guess, my fault for not seeing their potential, but hey, get up here. Yeah, my cat is but they absolutely blew me away on this album. I reviewed this for Heavy Metallurgy because I was inspired by the music on here. It goes in so many different directions, does everything that I want Stoner Doom to do, and it does it perfectly. And it does it in an emotionally gripping way. Like these songs stick with you. They're emotionally stirring. Like tracks like Parasites and Hammer sound kind of pissed off and like filled with stoner aggression, how you will. While tracks like Blood Feather and Waiting by the Gallows feel more dirgy and like 40-watt sun kind of melancholy. Absolute favorite song on the album though is Bones. That track is an anthem, probably one of my favorite songs of the year, and just absolutely anthemic. It's got a main hook that make you want to mosh. How often do you hear a Stoner Doom song that makes you want to get into a pit or start a mosh pit? But yeah, Cosmic Reaper does, and the fact that I've been following these guys for years, and you know, now feel like they've really made the best Stoner Doom album of 2025. It's so cool, that this was once just a local band, and to be there, potentially ready to be on the bigger scale of things. So yeah, number 4, Cosmic Reaper, Bleed the Wicked, Drown the Damned. All right, folks. Last 3 albums. I am tired. Acid Bath. Wait, no. Sorry. Dax Riggs. 7 Songs for Spiders. So, yes, this is the, Acid Bath vocalist. Of course, one of the biggest comeback of the year is Acid Bath. Who would have known that in 2025, this band that only released 2 albums in the '90s would have the following that they did, and they literally sold out a stadium here in New Orleans back in November, and have been doing sold out shows all across the U.S. They're going to, the United Kingdom this year in 2026. Triumphant story, well deserved. I'm a big Acid Bath fan, and I think they deserve all of the attention that they're getting, and I'm glad they are capturing the love that they missed in the '90s. That being said, I'm also a big fan of Dax Riggs, and actually a bigger fan of his solo project. Well, not solo project, but his project Agents of Oblivion. They released a self-titled Agents of Oblivion album back in 1999 or 2000, and that is my favorite thing from this group of musicians. Check it out if you haven't. It's like swampy sludge rock, like it's borderline metal, but not quite. But absolutely enthralling stuff. Some of the most emotionally impactful music I've ever heard. Hangman's Daughter is one of my favorite songs of all time, period. That being said, Dax Riggs has kind of found that magic again on 7 Songs for Spiders. His solo work always hints around with the stuff that he's done with Acid Bath and Agents of Oblivion, but he always ends up throwing a bit more of like an indie rock or alt alternative folk, just all different, vibes that are a bit more, you know, not metal, not dark, not menacing, not a lot of the things that I would want from my music. But stuff where I like Dax Riggs enough as a musician that I still listen to it. But here on 7 Songs for Spiders, he's actually back performing his swampy, sludgy anthems, and I would say it's still not metal, but we're back into some, like, dark musical territory, which I'm here for. So, uh, this came out back in January. I've been listening to this the whole year and have not gotten tired of it. Oh, so I had to pick this up as soon as I could. From New Orleans, absolutely so cool to be living in the same state as a guy like this. Hope to see him live at some point. Dax Riggs, 7 Songs for Spiders. Number 3, and you already saw number 2, Hooded Menace, Lachrymose Monuments of Obscuration. Say that 3 times fast. Wow. This album blew me away. I have not necessarily been the biggest Hooded Menace fan. I have followed them since 2014's Darkness Strips Forth, or is it 2015? I don't know. Years. Darkness Strips Forth. Kind of more of a funeral dirgy album, but this one absolutely blew me away. It finally all fell into place. Like, I've enjoyed their previous 2 albums here and there. What Tony's Bell came out a couple years ago. I always forget the name of their like 2018 album. Ossuarium Silhouettes Unhallowed, 2018. Yeah. That one I liked, but like once again, it just didn't make me want to pick it up and buy it and like listen to it endlessly. And same with Cartonius Bell, but it was cool to hear them going in a more heavy metal direction. And I think they fully nailed it here. They nailed this like King Diamond esque, Bark at the Moon style, uh, just 80s heavy metal mixed with some goth in there too. Like I'm absolutely sold on this album. I love the guitar work. I love the way the songs are written. Every single track on here I think is a hit. Pale Masquerade through Into Haunted Oblivion, they all work for me. My favorite 2 songs are, Daughters of Lingering Pain and oh, man, uh, Luxurious Dance. There are 2, like, very '80s heavy metal riffs in each one of those tracks that blows me away every time I listen to them. And I actually enjoy the Duran Duran cover, "Save a Prayer." I know I've heard some people mention that it's a detractor, but for me, it seals the deal. It basically, it it fits, I think. I think it fits this, like, look at this cover, it's fucking filled with purple. It's all purple everywhere, and you got a Duran Duran cover. I think it makes sense. I love how they made it more brutal. I don't know the original song, so that's why I like this one so much, but yeah, big fan of the cover and big fan of the more traditional, like, death doom, uh, '90s dirge that is Into Haunted Oblivion. Like, the spoken word part, so cool in that track. But just the fact that every single song I think is at least a 9 out of 10, and the ones in the middle are all, like, 10 out of 10s for me. Absolutely just makes this one a very important album. And here we are, look, we're almost at a 10. 9.7 out of 10 is my rating for this one. Pretty high up there. Devin. Yeah, man, I need to get back I need to re-listen to earlier Hooded Menace because I have not gone back to any other albums besides, Darkness Strips Forth. That's the only other one I actually own, so I guess that's why, but Ossuarium Silhouettes is always one that I liked, but there was just something that there's something didn't quite click for me the way that they do on here. So I will be exploring more Hooded Menace shortly, for sure. All right. Well, my voice is kind of roached. I'm almost done with my beer. Let's wrap this fucking thing up. I am tired. Number one, Bluthaus Nord, Ethereal Horizons. Yeah, I mean I've talked about this a couple times before. This is this is a crazy, honestly, for me. Like I knew as soon as I first put this on that this was special to me. Like it was within the first uh like vocal melody of Shadows Breathe First that I kind of stopped what I was doing and just like stood letting myself be immersed in the melody and like the alien feel of this music. I don't know, Blue House Nord and the sole member behind it. He nailed it, man. I guess it is a little shocking. I don't know. It's not a stoner doom band, but I do love like emotionally compelling atmospheric music. Like Agalloch is actually my favorite band, and Alcest has produced one of my favorite albums with Kodama. So it's not completely a surprise to me that something like this could be my number one. You know, as soon as I was like listening through it, there's just some moments on this album that are so familiar yet alien, so beautiful yet kind of menacing. You know, like the ordeal has this like kind of haunting guitar riff throughout it, and once again another like odd alien chorus, but it's not a chorus. It's just it's also nebulous, and that's kind of what Binsval does with Blood Out Nord. It feels so hard to grasp, but I think one of the things that made Ethereal Horizons click with me, it feels like he's actually trying to make it a little bit more commercial, you know, or a little bit more accessible, but not too hard. Like it's still weird and out there. It still has unpredictable and surprising elements. Like my one of my favorite tracks is "The Fall Opens the Sky." That song just explodes out of the gate. and then it hints at this, like, beautiful, um, post black metal, like, melody that it just elevates. It's just so gorgeous, and while it's building this melody, the drum work is being anything but consistent underneath. Like, it is stopping and starting, it's doing all these crazy fills, and it's taking you on this journey within a journey. It's so cool how the drums and the guitars are interacting on this, and yeah, that track, "The Fall Opens the Sky" is special. Like, that's could be my favorite song on the album. "The End Becomes Grace," the closing track, is potentially the other one, and I just love how it starts for, like, 3 minutes, and it's going a little bit more of how you would expect, and it stops, and there's just this ambience to it, and then it comes back with the most sweeping, all-encompassing guitar line that I've, like, ever heard. It once again, another moment of, like, goosebumps. You kinda just stop where you're at, you know? Fucking amazing. To me, there are 4 10 out of 10 tracks on here. Shadows Breathe First, The Ordeal, The Fall Opens the Sky, and The End Becomes Grace. And then Seclusions and What Burns Now Listens are both, like, very apt, um, a little bit more menacing and traditional songs, like, I think a bit more like Hallucinogen from this album, but I think they still serve the purpose of moving this album along, and, to me, because of how emotionally gripping it is, I know I rated it a 5 down here, but that's supposed to be a 10. I often do a 0 to 5 rating scale. Oops. But, man, yeah. This album immediately gripped me, and it's one of those where I was just immediately hooked. Knew that I love this, knew that this has the potential to be a 10 out of 10, and I don't want to overplay it, and I don't want to, take the luster off of it. So, I'm saving it for special occasions from here on out, but it is a beautiful album, awe-inspiring album. My favorite thing I've heard from Blue House Nord. I've only heard about 6 or 7 of his albums, so I that could be another reason why it kinda clicked with me. To kinda touch on that real quick, I could definitely see it being his most commercial. Like, I'm familiar with the 2 Disharmonium albums that came before, the, 777 series, and then the Memoriam, Vetusta, which those could kinda come close to being commercial, but this just has a level of polish that, the others kinda lack in a sense. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm not fully familiar with the whole catalog, but this is special, not just of Blue House Nord, but of all the music I've heard in 2025 and in general, so I'm tentatively giving it a 10 out of 10, a perfect score, so there we go. Oh, man, Rick, well, now I'm done. I've fully climaxed, I'm good, I'm out. Deftones and Blue House Nord. See, now I don't think I've heard work which transforms God, so that's why I take my opinion with a grain of salt when it comes to Blue House Nord. But guys, I've talked about 50 albums. I'm tired. Cheers to all of y'all who've watched. I'm surprised it's been kind of a steady, like, 7 to 10 people. Evan, you've been the main commenter, man. I appreciate you. Cheers. Rick, you as well. Cheers to anyone else who's out there. I thought 2025 was the best year that I've seen. Uh, Probably since 2020. 2020 for me had, almost as many releases and maybe one more that I was like, "This is a 10 out of 10." But, yeah, 2025 is easily the best year since 2020, and I I absolutely had a blast being able to rediscover as much music as I did. It kinda made up for how crappy the year was other ways, which we've all experienced in one form or another. But, hey, Eric, quick, high def I saw your response to our Accused video, man. It was cool. I haven't done the homework yet that you put out in that, but I will. I was kind of blown away by that Accused album. That was my first experience with Martha, the Return of Martha Splatterhead, but it was immediately like a piss and vinegar, more raw and honest form of crossover that I kind of was not used to with other crossover bands I was familiar with. So I will check out some of those recommendations you put down in that video. But yeah, that was why 2020 was so good. That was my only option was listening to music. But yeah, guys, cheers, y'all. Tomorrow's Friday. Cheers to that. Um, I'll hopefully see you next week on the Heavy Metallurgy Album Club. Cheers, guys. Thanks for joining.